Ethan adjusted his tool belt for the 100th time that day, staring at the sleek silver walls of the alien station. The corridors shimmered faintly under the soft lights embedded in the floor panels, giving the entire place a quiet, otherworldly glow. He had worked on human spacecraft and research vessels before, but nothing compared to this. The alien station was massive, elegant, and strange. Curves and angles that no human architect would dare use made it look almost alive. "Ethan," called Commander Hayes from the doorway, snapping him out of his thoughts. "We've mapped most of the station, but the main energy core is still unstable. You'll need to repair it before we can fully explore the rest of this place." Ethan nodded, his mind racing with excitement and nerves. He had been assigned many difficult jobs, but this was something special, something extraordinary, and the thought of being alone inside the station with the legendary alien princess, well, it was both thrilling and intimidating. He pushed open the heavy door leading to the core chamber. The room was vast, almost cathedral-like, with panels of light and energy flowing along the walls. In the center, a sphere of glowing blue energy hummed softly. Ethan approached it carefully, his fingers brushing over alien symbols that pulsed as he worked. A soft voice made him freeze. "Human," it said. Calm and melodic, yet carrying an authority that made him stand straighter instantly. Ethan turned. Standing on a raised platform, partially shadowed by the glowing walls, was Princess Liara. Her presence was mesmerizing. Tall, graceful, with skin that shimmered slightly like polished pearl, she watched him carefully. Her eyes, bright and curious, seemed to study him in detail. I wasn't expecting anyone here," Ethan said, forcing a casual tone. His heart pounded. He had read stories about alien royalty, but meeting one was entirely different. Liara tilted her head slightly. "You repair the core?" "I observe," she said softly. Her voice was unlike any human's, calm even, yet somehow commanding. "Do not fear me," Ethan swallowed. "Yes, Princess." He realized he had almost forgotten basic protocol in awe of her. For the next few hours, Ethan worked. The energy core was complex, a delicate balance of alien technology that responded to touch, voice, and even thought patterns. He had never seen anything like it. And all the while, Liara observed. She said little, merely moving gracefully along the platform, occasionally touching a console or tilting her head as if to follow his movements. At first, Ethan thought her quietness was disinterest. But as minutes turned into hours, he began noticing her expressions, subtle changes in posture, tiny gestures that seemed almost human. When a misalignment caused the energy sphere to flicker dangerously, she leaned forward and her eyes widened, not in alarm, but in recognition of his quick thinking. "You understand it," she said softly, almost to herself. Ethan glanced at her. I try," he admitted, brushing a sweat-soaked strand of hair from his forehead. Liara's lips curved slightly in what could almost be called a smile. Few humans try. Most only fear. That small acknowledgement made Ethan's chest warm. Somehow he felt a connection forming, quiet but undeniable. They were worlds apart in every way, species, culture, history. But in that moment, working side by side, something bridged the distance. Suddenly, an alarm blared. The room shook slightly as a panel flashed red. Ethan jumped and Liara's eyes sharpened. "The core is unstable," Ethan shouted over the alarm, quickly analyzing the readings. "If I don't stabilize it, the station could lose power entirely." "Then act," Liara said, her voice steady. "I trust you," the words made him pause. No human commander had ever spoken like that to him, not with such calm certainty. It was trust, simple and pure, and it struck him deeply. Ethan gritted his teeth and worked faster, reconnecting conduits, recalibrating energy flows, and redirecting pulses with precision. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and for a moment he feared failure. But then the core hummed steadily. The red alarm switched to green. A soft, steady glow returned to the chamber. Ethan leaned back, exhausted but triumphant. Liara's eyes softened. She stepped closer, her movements fluid and deliberate. "You did well," she said. "You understand patience and courage," Ethan blinked. "Thank you, Princess, I just did what I could." "No," Liara corrected gently. "You did more than that. You acted without fear, without hesitation. That is rare among your kind." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest he could not explain. It was pride, yes, but something else too. Something he had not expected. They worked side by side for the rest of the day, Ethan repairing minor systems, Liara observing and occasionally offering quiet suggestions. He began to notice small details about her, how her eyes followed his movements, how her voice changed when she spoke about energy patterns, how her presence made the vast, empty station feel less lonely. During a break, he leaned against a console, wiping sweat from his brow. Liara remained standing, watching him with curiosity. "You seem different from other humans," she said softly. Ethan chuckled nervously. "I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing." Liara's expression softened almost tenderly. "It is good. You are not afraid of the unknown. You are honest with yourself." Ethan's heart raced. Honest. He had always prided himself on being straightforward, but hearing it from a princess, an alien one, no less, made it feel profound. The day turned to night in the station, or at least the closest approximation of night the artificial environment could produce. The glowing panels dimmed slightly and the hum of the core became a gentle background pulse. Ethan sat down on a bench near the core, exhausted, while Liara remained standing, her gaze distant. "Do you ever get lonely?" Ethan asked cautiously. Liara tilted her head, considering. "For centuries I have been alone, surrounded by advisors, guards, and politics, yet never truly understood. I have watched many creatures, including humans, from afar." She looked at him directly. "But never have I met one who interested me." Ethan's throat went dry. He had expected many things from this mission. Danger, discovery, perhaps recognition, but not this. Not an alien princess admitting her curiosity, her intrigue, her attention to him. I'm honored," he said quietly. "I don't think I've ever met anyone like you either." Liara's gaze softened, and for the first time Ethan felt the full weight of her presence. Not as a royal figure, but as a being who had lived long and seen much, who had waited quietly for something she could not name. "Perhaps," she said. "This station is not as empty as I thought." Ethan smiled. "Maybe it isn't." They remained there side by side in companionable silence. The hum of the energy core, the dim glow of the panels, and the quiet of the station created a strange sense of intimacy. For Ethan, the lines between duty and something more personal began to blur. He felt a connection growing, subtle and unspoken, as if the station itself had brought them together. As the artificial night deepened, Ethan realized something else. He did not fear her presence. He did not feel small or insignificant beside her. Instead, he felt seen, and in a universe so vast that feeling was rare, almost miraculous. Liara finally moved to the exit, her silhouette outlined against the glowing walls. "Rest, human. Tomorrow brings more work and perhaps understanding." Ethan nodded, watching her go. "Good night, princess," he said softly. "Good night." "Ethan," she replied, and for a moment, her voice carried a warmth that echoed in the silent chamber long after she had left. Ethan sat back, exhausted but exhilarated. Today had been more than a repair mission. It had been a first step into something he could not yet define. Curiosity, admiration, trust, and perhaps in time something even deeper. Outside the station, stars shone cold and distant, but inside, two beings from different worlds had found the faintest spark of connection, the beginning of a bond that could change both their lives. And Ethan, for the first time in a long while, allowed himself to wonder what it might become. Word count. 1 to 305 words. The next morning, Ethan awoke to the faint hum of the alien station. Light from the distant stars filtered through the curved panels, casting soft colors across the walls. He stretched and rubbed his eyes, remembering the strange but comforting feeling of being beside Princess Liara the night before. The connection he had felt lingered in his chest, like a small warm flame he couldn't ignore. He made his way toward the core chamber, carrying tools and equipment, ready to continue the repairs. The corridors were quiet, almost serene, though there was an underlying hum of energy that seemed to move through the station itself. Ethan had worked on many spacecraft and research stations, but this place felt alive. It reacted subtly to his movements, as if observing him even when no one else was around. As he reached the chamber, Liara was already there, standing near a console and examining holographic displays. She turned as he entered, her eyes bright and alert. "Good morning, human," she said softly. "You returned quickly," Ethan smiled, a bit nervously. "Morning, princess. I couldn't sleep well. I kept thinking about yesterday's repairs." Liara's expression softened. It was satisfactory. But there is more to do. She stepped closer, her movements graceful and precise. Come, help me with the mapping system. Ethan followed, trying to appear confident. They moved together through the chamber, adjusting panels and scanning equipment. Liara watched his hands carefully, occasionally guiding him with subtle gestures. You understand machines quickly, she observed. Faster than I expected. I've always been good at understanding how things work, Ethan replied. But this is unlike anything I've seen. Your technology, it's amazing, Liara's eyes flickered with curiosity. Amazing, yes. But fragile in some ways. It requires care and attention which many humans lack. Ethan chuckled. I try not to be careless. They worked in silence for a while, the quiet punctuated only by the soft hum of the core and the occasional click of controls. Ethan noticed something new about Liara. Her focus, her attention to detail, and the way she seemed genuinely interested in what he did. She didn't simply observe. She learned, adapted, and sometimes even smiled quietly when he solved a particularly tricky problem. After some time, Liara stepped back from the console and folded her arms. You have patience, she said. I have seen many who lack it, rushing and failing. Ethan smiled faintly. Patience has its benefits. He paused, then asked, Princess, do you ever get tired of being alone? Liara's eyes softened, and she looked down for a moment. I have been alone for centuries. I have had advisors, guards, and visitors, but true companionship is rare. I watch others, humans and aliens alike. I observe interactions, emotions, connections, but I have not found someone who truly understands. Ethan felt a strange ache in his chest. I think I understand in some way. Being alone can weigh on you. Liara's gaze met his, intense and steady. Perhaps you show courage, not just with machines or tasks, but with your presence here, alone in my station. Many humans would flee, Ethan swallowed. I wasn't sure what I would find, but I'm glad I stayed. Liara tilted her head slightly, studying him. Good. Her voice was soft, almost curious, but carried an authority that made him feel both nervous and honored. Suddenly, a console beeped sharply, signaling a system alert. Ethan rushed over to see what had triggered it. A minor fluctuation in the station's energy flow had caused several panels to shut down. I'll fix this, he said, kneeling by the control panel. It's minor, but it needs attention quickly. Liara moved beside him, her hand hovering near the console. Allow me to observe, she said. I may understand more if I watch. Ethan nodded, working quickly but carefully. As he reconnected circuits and adjusted energy flows, he noticed Liara leaning slightly closer, her attention entirely on his hands. It was subtle, but her presence seemed to calm him, give him focus. There, he said after a few tense moments. That should stabilize the system. Liara's eyes sparkled faintly. Indeed, you are efficient and careful. Humans are capable of more than I expected. Ethan laughed softly. I'm just trying to do my job. Your job brings life to this station, Liara said, her voice almost wistful. Without careful hands, systems fail, and this place becomes empty again. Ethan felt the weight of her words. This station was her home, her responsibility, her world, and she trusted him to help preserve it. It was an honor, and it made him more determined to succeed. The day passed in a mixture of work and quiet conversation. Ethan explained simple human concepts to Liara: friendship, trust, humor, and she listened intently, fascinated by emotions she had only observed from afar. In turn, she explained aspects of alien technology and philosophy, in ways that were sometimes hard to understand, but always intriguing. At one point, they took a short break, sitting on the edge of a platform that overlooked the central chamber. The glowing core below pulsed softly, casting gentle light on their faces. Do humans feel emotions deeply? Liara asked suddenly. Ethan looked at her, considering. Yes, emotions are strong. They can motivate, hurt, or inspire. They make life complicated but also beautiful. Liara's eyes lingered on him, thoughtful. I observe courage, fear, joy, but humans also feel love, I believe. It is powerful. Ethan hesitated, unsure how to respond. He had never thought of telling an alien about love, but something in Liara's presence made him speak honestly. Yes, love is powerful. It can make people do things they never thought possible. It can also bring pain, but it's worth it. Liara nodded slowly. I see. Perhaps that is what I have been missing. Connection, understanding, perhaps even trust. Ethan felt his chest tighten. He didn't know why, but he wanted to tell her more, to explain that he already felt a connection with her. But he stayed silent, unsure if it was appropriate. Later, an unexpected problem arose. A section of the station's outer shield had destabilized, creating a minor energy leak. Ethan and Liara worked together to contain it. He guided her through the process, explaining the steps carefully. She followed his instructions precisely, and together they stabilized the shield. "You adapt quickly," Ethan said, impressed. Liara's expression softened. "You teach well, perhaps. We understand each other more than I expected." The day ended with the two of them sitting near the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Ethan felt a strange sense of peace, unusual after a day filled with technical problems and near disasters. He realized that in Liara's presence he felt seen, appreciated, and connected. "Princess," he said quietly, almost hesitantly. I like being here. With you, I didn't expect to feel this way." Liara turned to him, her eyes calm and gentle. "I feel the same," she admitted softly. "It is rare to meet someone who does not fear or judge, who sees me for more than my title." Ethan's heart raced. Her words were simple yet filled with meaning. He realized that their connection was growing stronger with every shared task, every quiet conversation, and every moment of trust. As artificial night fell over the station, Ethan knew that the bond they were forming was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He didn't fully understand it yet, but he sensed that it was only the beginning. A new chapter had started, not just in his mission, but in something far deeper, something that might change both their lives. And for the first time, he allowed himself to hope. Hope that this strange, elegant alien princess might become more than a companion in duty. Perhaps someday she could become someone who truly mattered to him. He didn't know what the future held. There would be challenges, dangers, and misunderstandings. But in this moment, as he sat beside Liara, watching the soft glow of the stars through alien glass, he felt something rare. Connection, trust, and the faint spark of something more, and that spark he knew was only the beginning. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft hum of the alien station and the gentle glow of the core. Today felt different. There was an energy in the air, subtle but noticeable, as if the station itself had sensed the growing bond between him and Princess Liara. He dressed quickly and made his way to the core chamber. Tools in hand, Liara was already there, standing near a console. Her posture was relaxed, yet she carried the same air of authority that always commanded respect. She glanced at him, and for a brief moment a soft smile crossed her face. A rare gesture, gentle and almost human. "Good morning, Ethan," she said, her voice calm and melodic. "I trust you slept well?" "I did," Ethan replied, a little nervously, "though I couldn't stop thinking about the station. And yesterday." Liara's eyes softened and she tilted her head slightly. "You worry too much for someone so capable." "Perhaps it is a human trait," Ethan chuckled. "Maybe it is. But I also like knowing things are stable, especially here." "With you." Liara paused, her expression thoughtful. "With me?" she repeated softly. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. Had he said too much? I mean your station. Being here. Working together," he stammered, trying to cover. Her eyes lingered on him for a long moment. "I understand," she said finally, though her tone carried a hint of amusement. "And I appreciate it." They spent the morning repairing minor systems and running diagnostics. Ethan explained how human engineers approach problem solving, sometimes relying on intuition rather than precise calculations. Liara listened carefully, her sharp mind absorbing every word. In turn, she explained the alien technology's subtleties, how it responded not only to physical manipulation but also to thought patterns and emotion. "You are remarkably adaptable," Liara said, her voice quiet but sincere. "Few humans could handle this technology without frustration or error." Ethan smiled faintly. "I guess I've always liked challenges. You face them with courage," she said, "and that makes you different. Worthy of trust." Her words struck him deeply. He had earned trust in many situations before, but coming from an alien princess, they carried a weight that was almost overwhelming. He felt a connection growing stronger with every shared task, every conversation, every small moment of understanding. By midday, they had moved to the observation deck, a large platform overlooking the station's core chamber. The glowing sphere pulsed softly below, casting gentle light across their faces. Ethan leaned against the railing, exhausted but content. "Princess," he began hesitantly, "can I ask you something personal?" Liara tilted her head, curious. "Personal? Yes. Go ahead. Do you ever wonder if anyone could understand you? Truly understand you? Not just respect you as a princess, but as yourself?" Liara's gaze softened, and she looked out at the distant stars. "I have wondered," she admitted. "For centuries I have seen others try, but they see only what I am, not who I am. Most are afraid, or they admire only the title." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. I think I understand you. Maybe not everything, but I want to. I want to see you as you are." Liara turned to him, her eyes intense and calm. "You are honest, Ethan. That is rare." A quiet moment passed. The hum of the core, the soft glow of the station, and the vastness of space outside created an atmosphere that was both intimate and profound. Ethan felt his heart beating faster, a mixture of excitement, fear, and something he could not yet name. Then, without thinking, he said it. The words slipped out before he could stop them. I love you, Liara." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the hum of the core seemed to fade for a heartbeat. Ethan's chest tightened, panic rising in him. He had meant it, he truly did, but he had said it accidentally too soon without understanding the consequences. Liara's eyes widened, but not in shock. There was a softness, a vulnerability, and, Ethan realized, relief. "At last," she whispered, her voice almost trembling. Ethan froze. At last?" he stammered. I didn't mean to. You did not mean to?" Liara asked gently, stepping closer. "It does not matter. The truth has been spoken, and it is welcome." Ethan's heart raced. He had expected rejection, confusion, maybe even anger. Instead, she had accepted his words. Not with immediate declarations or grand gestures, but with calm acknowledgement and a quiet, powerful relief. I don't understand," Ethan admitted. Why welcome it?" Liara looked at him, her eyes soft and honest. "For centuries I have watched, waited, and hoped. I did not know if such a feeling could exist for me. You proved it can. And now, it is here." Ethan took a hesitant step closer, still unsure if he was dreaming. "So, you feel something for me too?" Liara's lips curved in a faint, genuine smile. "Perhaps. I have observed you, and the truth is, I have hoped for this. For someone who could see me as more than my title. Someone brave enough to speak without fear." Ethan felt a rush of warmth. His awkwardness, his nerves, everything melted away in that moment. The bond they had been forming through work, conversation, and shared challenges suddenly took on a new depth. "You mean, you were hoping I would care?" Ethan asked, still barely believing it. Liara nodded. "Yes, I hoped, and now it has happened." The two of them stood there, the hum of the core surrounding them, the soft glow of the station illuminating their faces. For Ethan, time seemed to slow. He had never felt this way before, this mix of fear, relief, joy, and wonder. He realized that he did not want the moment to end. "Liara," he said softly, I don't know what comes next. I just know that I feel this deeply." She stepped closer, her presence gentle yet commanding. "Then we shall discover it together. Carefully, patiently. There is time, human. Do not rush what has only just begun." Ethan nodded, feeling a strange peace. For the first time, he did not feel like an outsider in this alien station. He felt seen, understood, and most importantly, connected. They spent the rest of the day exploring the station together, though their focus was lighter now. Small moments, shared laughter, quiet observations, even brief touches, were filled with meaning. Ethan noticed the way Liara's hand would brush against a console near his, intentionally or not. He noticed the way her gaze lingered when she thought he wasn't looking. At one point, they found a small garden chamber, a hidden space filled with alien flora. Ethan had never seen plants like these, some glowing faintly, others moving gently as if responding to thought. Liara walked among them, her fingers trailing along the leaves. "These plants are very old," she said softly. "They survive because they adapt. Much like you humans, in a way." Ethan smiled. "I guess we do. We adapt, we survive. And sometimes, we find unexpected beauty along the way." Liara's eyes met his, and for a long moment words were unnecessary. They simply stood together, observing the alien garden. Two beings from completely different worlds, yet connected by curiosity, trust, and something far more profound. As artificial night fell, they returned to the observation deck. Ethan watched the distant stars, feeling a sense of calm and hope he had never known before. Liara stood beside him, her hand brushing his lightly. It was a simple gesture, but it carried weight, trust, comfort, and a promise of more to come. "Tomorrow," Liara said softly, "we continue our work. But perhaps also our understanding," Ethan nodded, smiling. "Yes, and I think I'm ready for that." The hum of the core, the soft glow of the station, and the vastness of space outside created a quiet sanctuary. For Ethan, it was a place of discovery, not just of alien technology, but of something far more extraordinary: connection, trust, and the fragile beginnings of love. And as he closed his eyes that night, exhausted but exhilarated, he realized one simple truth. The bond between him and Liara had changed everything. It was no longer just about repairs, missions, or survival. It was about two beings from different worlds finding each other and discovering that even in the vast emptiness of space, hearts could meet. The hum of the alien station had a new urgency that morning. Ethan felt it the moment he stepped into the central chamber. The energy core pulsed steadily, but the consoles displayed fluctuations he had not seen before. Something was wrong. "Princess Liara," he called, moving quickly to her side. "The energy readings, they're spiking. We might have a problem with the station's outer shield." Liara's eyes narrowed. "Show me." She gestured to the main console, and holographic displays flickered to life, revealing a ripple of instability across the station's shields. Ethan frowned. If this isn't fixed, the station could be vulnerable to external forces. Any attack or collision could breach the hull. Liara's expression hardened, her calm composure shifting into focused determination. "Then we act. Together." For the first time, Ethan felt a thrill mixed with tension. The situation was dangerous, but he was not alone. Liara was beside him, her mind sharp and her presence reassuring. They moved quickly, analyzing the shields, recalibrating energy flows, and adjusting auxiliary systems. "You understand this technology faster than I anticipated," Liara said, her voice calm but with a hint of admiration. "Your mind adapts like the human machines I have observed in simulations, but you also think creatively." Ethan smiled faintly. "Thanks, I've had practice. But your technology, it's more advanced than anything I've seen." "I just try to keep up." Liara's eyes softened. "And yet you do more than keep up. You improve, you solve, you adapt. That is remarkable." As they worked, Ethan noticed subtle gestures from Liara that had become familiar. A hand brushing near his while adjusting a panel, a glance that lingered just a moment longer than necessary, and the quiet attentiveness that made him feel valued. The bond between them had deepened, unspoken but undeniable. Suddenly, an alert flashed across the main display. "External sensors detect an approaching vessel," Ethan said, his voice tense. "It's alien. Not one we recognize." Liara's expression did not waver, but her eyes narrowed. "They come for the station," she said. "Perhaps to reclaim it or to test us." Ethan's heart raced. "We need to prepare defenses. I can help stabilize the shields, but we'll need more." Liara nodded. "Agreed. We combine human ingenuity and alien technology. Let us act swiftly." Together they moved through the station, activating defense systems, reinforcing shields, and calibrating energy weapons. Ethan's hands worked quickly, adjusting conduits and redirecting power where it was needed most. Liara's presence was steady, her guidance precise and confident. He realized that he had never worked with anyone like her before. Not human, not alien, not anyone. Her mind was sharp, her decisions quick, and her trust in him unwavering. "You are reliable," Liara said quietly as they worked side by side. "I have watched others falter, but you do not." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. "I'm just trying to help." "No," Liara corrected softly. "You do more than help. You inspire confidence. You give courage." The alien vessel approached faster, and Ethan and Liara moved to the observation deck. From there, they could see the sleek lines of the approaching ship, its energy signature unfamiliar and threatening. "They are powerful," Ethan said, gripping the railing. "We need to be ready." Liara's gaze was calm, unwavering. "We are ready if we act together. Trust me, human." Ethan nodded, a surge of determination filling him. "I do." As the alien ship drew closer, it fired a warning beam toward the station, testing its defenses. Ethan adjusted the shield conduits, stabilizing the energy fields. Sparks flew and alarms blared, but the station held. Liara guided him with calm instructions, her confidence steadying his own. "You adapt quickly under pressure," she said, almost admiringly. "Few could manage this." Ethan grinned despite the tension. "I've learned from the best," he replied, glancing at her. The aliens pressed their attack, sending a series of energy pulses at the station. Ethan and Liara worked in perfect synchronization. He rerouted energy, she adjusted the targeting matrices, and together they held the station's defenses. During a critical moment, a conduit overheated, threatening to cause a system failure. Ethan dashed forward, risking injury, and stabilized it manually. Liara's hand brushed his arm as she guided him, a small but grounding gesture. "You are brave," she said softly. "I did not expect this courage." Ethan felt his chest swell with pride. "I just can't let anything happen to you or the station." Liara's eyes softened, and she reached out, placing a hand briefly on his shoulder. It was a simple gesture, but Ethan felt its significance. Trust, respect, and something deeper flowed between them in that touch. The alien vessel, recognizing the station's resilience and the humans' clever coordination, retreated slowly. Ethan and Liara watched it disappear into the void, tension slowly fading from their shoulders. "We did it," Ethan said, exhaling. "The station is safe for now." Liara turned to him, her expression calm but thoughtful. "Yes, together we are stronger than I anticipated. You have proven yourself not only capable, but remarkable." Ethan laughed softly, relief mingling with exhilaration. "Remarkable? That's a new one." Liara smiled faintly. "You adapt, you act. You do not fear. That is rare, Ethan. Rare among humans, and even rarer among others I have known." The two of them moved back to the observation deck, standing side by side, the glow of the core reflecting in their eyes. Ethan felt a mixture of exhaustion, adrenaline, and something else, something he could not yet name. "Princess, Liara," he said softly, almost hesitantly, I don't know how to explain this, but being here with you, it feels important. More than the mission, more than the work, it feels like we're meant to face this together." Liara's gaze met his, steady and sincere. "Yes, Ethan, that is the truth. We are more than our roles. More than duty, we are companions in a world that is often dangerous, lonely, and vast. I value this connection." Ethan felt a surge of warmth. "I feel the same. I'm glad it's you I get to work with, to stand with." Liara's expression softened, a faint smile touching her lips. "And I am glad it is you." They spent the rest of the day reinforcing the station's systems, but the tension had shifted. There was a new understanding between them, unspoken but strong. Every glance, every gesture carried weight. Ethan realized that danger had a way of revealing truths, not only about machines and systems, but about hearts and courage. As artificial night fell, Ethan stood near the observation deck, looking out at the distant stars. Liara joined him quietly, her presence calm and comforting. They stood together in silence, watching the cosmic expanse, two beings from different worlds united by trust, respect, and the beginnings of something deeper. "Tomorrow," Liara said softly, breaking the silence, "we continue our work. But perhaps also our understanding of each other." Ethan nodded, smiling faintly. "Yes, and I think I'm ready for that. Whatever comes next, I want to face it with you." Liara's eyes glimmered. "Then we shall, together." The hum of the core, the gentle glow of the station, and the vastness of space created a sanctuary. Ethan realized that he had found more than just purpose here. He had found trust, courage, and the beginnings of a connection that could span worlds. And as he finally rested that night, exhausted but exhilarated, he felt a quiet certainty. Danger could come again, challenges could rise, but with Liara by his side, he was ready. Not just for the station, not just for the mission, but for whatever future awaited them. In the quiet of the alien station, amidst glowing lights and the hum of energy, two beings from distant worlds had discovered something rare. Not just survival, not just success, but a bond that promised courage, trust, and the faint beginnings of love. And for Ethan, that bond was worth everything. The morning light filtered softly through the curved walls of the alien station. Ethan woke with a sense of anticipation he had never experienced before. Yesterday's events, the shared victories, and the growing connection with Princess Liara played repeatedly in his mind. Today felt different. Not just another day of repairs or technical challenges, but a day where emotions could no longer be ignored. He dressed quickly, checking his tools and equipment. He wanted to make sure everything was in order, but his thoughts kept drifting to Liara. Would she feel the same depth of connection he did? Could he risk saying what he truly felt? As he entered the central chamber, Liara was already at the main console, her elegant posture calm but alert. She glanced up as he approached and her expression softened. "Good morning, Ethan," she said quietly. "You seem eager today." "I am," he admitted, smiling nervously. "Not just for the work, but for us, for what we've discovered together." Liara tilted her head slightly, curiosity in her eyes. "Us?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Yes, us. I need to be honest. I can't ignore it anymore. Liara, I love you. I have for some time now, and I can't keep it inside." Liara's eyes widened for a heartbeat, then softened. A small, almost imperceptible smile crossed her lips. "At last," she whispered. Ethan froze. "At last?" "Yes," Liara said gently. "I have waited perhaps longer than you can imagine for someone who could see me. Not as a princess, not as a figure of authority, but as I am. Someone brave enough to speak without fear. Someone who cares." Ethan felt a warmth spread through him. Relief, joy, disbelief all at once. You mean that?" Liara stepped closer, her gaze steady. "I do. Your courage, your honesty, your presence, they matter to me more than you know. I have hoped for this, and now it has come." For a long moment, neither spoke. The hum of the energy core filled the space around them, steady and comforting. Ethan realized that this was the culmination of everything. The long hours of work, the shared dangers, the quiet conversations, and the small gestures that had built trust and understanding. "I don't know what to say," Ethan admitted softly. "I've never felt like this before, not for anyone, and yet, it feels like the most natural thing in the world to feel it for you." Liara reached out, her hand brushing his gently. "Then do not say anything else. Let us feel it. Let us understand it together." Ethan's heart raced. He had expected this moment to be awkward, uncertain, even frightening. But instead it was peaceful, affirming, and full of possibility. He took her hand in his, feeling the soft warmth of her skin against his. In that simple touch, a world of emotion passed between them. Trust, admiration, courage, and the beginnings of love. The rest of the day passed in a quiet but profound harmony. They worked on the station systems, but now every gesture, every glance carried deeper meaning. Ethan found that his confidence grew not only from his technical skills, but from the connection he shared with Liara. And she, in turn, seemed lighter, more relaxed, as if the weight of centuries of duty had eased slightly. During a break, they explored one of the station's observation decks. From there, they could see the vastness of space stretching endlessly in all directions. Ethan marveled at the beauty, but it was Liara's presence beside him that made the moment extraordinary. "Do you ever wonder?" Ethan asked quietly. "What life could be like beyond this station? Beyond duty and protocol?" Liara's gaze followed his, distant but thoughtful. "I have wondered. But for centuries, my life has been dictated by responsibility and expectation. I have observed others, dreamed of connection, but it always felt impossible." Ethan turned to her. "It's not impossible anymore. We found it here together, and I want to explore it. With you." Liara's lips curved into a genuine smile. "Then we shall, together, slowly, carefully, but with honesty and courage." Later, the station's systems required attention. A minor fluctuation in the energy core demanded precise adjustments. Ethan and Liara worked side by side, their movements synchronized, their minds focused. Every adjustment was a testament not only to their technical skill but to the trust they had built. "You are remarkable, Ethan," Liara said softly as they stabilized the core. "Not only for your skill, but for your heart. Many would falter under pressure. You do not." Ethan's chest swelled with pride. "I could not do any of this without you. You make me better, stronger, and I want to protect you always." Liara's eyes glimmered with something unspoken. "And I trust you to do so, more than anyone else." As the artificial night approached, they returned to the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them, distant suns shining with calm brilliance. Ethan felt a profound sense of connection, not just to the universe around him, but to the being standing beside him. "Liara," he said quietly, taking her hands in his. "I want you to know. I will always be here, not just for the station, not just for the mission, but for you, for whatever comes next." Liara's gaze met his, steady and sincere. "And I will be here for you. For your courage, your honesty, your heart. I value you, Ethan, more than I can express." For a long time they stood together, hands clasped, hearts aligned, and minds at peace. The challenges they had faced, technological puzzles, unexpected dangers, and the vast unknown of space, had brought them together in ways neither had anticipated. And now, as they shared this quiet, powerful moment, they understood that their bond was something rare, extraordinary, and unbreakable. "I never imagined," Ethan said softly, "that I could feel this way, that I could find someone who understands, who sees me as I am." Liara smiled gently. "And I never imagined I could find someone who could reach me, not as a princess, not as a legend, but as a being who desires connection, trust, and understanding. You have done that, Ethan." The night deepened, the station quiet except for the hum of the core. Ethan realized that their connection was no longer something fragile or uncertain. It was strong, resilient, and full of promise. Whatever challenges the universe might send their way, they would face them together. And then, in the quiet of the observation deck, Ethan leaned slightly closer. "Liara, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know this: I love you, and I will do everything I can to honor that, to protect that, and to cherish it." Liara's eyes softened, and she reached up, gently touching his face. "And I love you, Ethan. I have, for some time, waiting for courage, waiting for honesty. You have both, and now we are together." Ethan felt a joy he had never known, a sense of fulfillment and wonder that filled his entire being. The trials, the challenges, the danger, all had led to this moment. And he knew without doubt that he would never be the same. They stayed there, hands clasped, hearts aligned, watching the stars. The alien station, vast and mysterious, hummed around them, but they no longer felt its emptiness. They had found something more important than technology, more vital than duty, and more enduring than fear: connection, trust, and love. In the quiet of the station, two beings from different worlds had discovered something extraordinary. Ethan, human and determined, and Liara, alien and wise, had bridged the gap between species, duty, and expectation. And in doing so, they had created something universal, something that could survive any challenge, face any danger, and endure across time and space. For Ethan, the lesson was clear: courage, honesty, and a willing heart could achieve more than skill alone. For Liara, the realization was just as profound: openness, trust, and hope could allow even centuries of isolation to end. And together, they knew that no matter what came next, no matter what dangers, surprises, or mysteries the universe might hold, they would face it side by side, hearts united, hands clasped, and souls intertwined. The station glowed softly around them, a witness to their journey. And as they turned to leave the observation deck, moving back into the heart of the station, they walked with certainty, purpose, and a profound sense of peace. They were not just human and alien, they were companions, allies, and partners in a universe that was vast, unpredictable, and full of wonder. And for the first time, Ethan felt truly at home.